All right, Women's Vibrancy Code podcast. We get to talk about peptides today. For those of you that I'm sure you've heard of peptides at this point. Many of you likely have no idea what they are and you're curious, and some maybe have given them a try. So I have Jason Kidman with me today. He is the founder of Omega Longevity and probably in my world, one of the top experts who's been utilizing them, biohacking the heck out of people's longevity and vitality. He started this business after a struggle and pain in his own life with a mission of really getting clear on how peptides can help himself in his journey of health and fitness. He was diagnosed with PTSD from a series of life events in 2006 through 2010. And he has been utilizing lots of different biohacking tools over the past 15 years, combined with finding the right doctors to live a productive life. So we can hear how from his journey, which you're going to learn more about, it makes a big difference who we're asking. Many of you hear me say, stop asking people for directions to places that they haven't been. So this is a conversation to help you learn the fundamentals of what are peptides, how do we use them. He'll share his own story. And I'm so excited that we've linked arms with Limitless Biotech, and they have actually shipped a whole protocol of peptides my way. They were supposed to be here. They're actually being overnighted this morning, and they have not shown up at the front door yet, but he's got some there that he can show us. Put on your note taker, put on your thinking brain, because the one thing with peptides is it's a whole lot of letters and numbers. I'm like, I can't wait till they rebrand these things just so that they're more memorable. Hi, Jason.
Thanks, Maraya. What a very thoughtful introduction. As you're going through that, I'm just recalling all that history, right? And I'm very introverted by nature. And it wasn't until I found my own version of Maraya Brown, through The Powerful Man, which is a men's life coaching group in 2023, January 2023 is when I started that. And from inside out, I just grew. And I let go of things that I had never let go of. I found things I had never found. I think that my journey is, as much of anything, it's about learning to love yourself. I learned that I had never loved myself. And if you can't love yourself, how can you love your spouse? How can you really, truly love your kids, and others?
I love this beginning, because we're going to talk about biohacking and peptides, which feel so linear and so masculine. And I believe energy needs to expand. And so up till now have been kind of resistant to this idea of biohacking, because so often it feels like protocols and kind of the walls caving in. And I love that you're starting with heart and you're starting with the value of expressing emotion. From the time that I've been getting to know you, I find you to be one of the most generous and heart-centered men. And so that's really the heart of it, is as we're talking about our energy level and our muscle tone and our skin health and our regeneration and our hormonal vitality, as well as our mood stabilization, it has this balance. And maybe like supplementation and injections and personalized biohacking mixed with, I also get to feel supported and held. And emotions are simply energy in motion. Feelings are meant to be felt. And I imagine what I think I'm hearing you say is that part of your health journey has been cellular and emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that up until 2023, the emotional was all negative. It was all, just try this, like therapy here, therapy there. And the therapy never worked. It never worked for me, right? And why? My heart wasn't open. It led me to a place where it took extreme vulnerability and being willing to I've cried more in the last 2.5 years than I have in my whole life, cumulatively combined.
We could do anything. You listeners, you could have the most pristine diets, the most VIP concierge protocol, and without the belief in it, without the heart's engagement, it's not going to work. So What is a peptide? Can we just go down to the fundamentals? If you were to be sitting down with my 13-year-old and 11-year-old and 8-year-old, and they said, Uncle Jason, what's a peptide?
A peptide is very, very simple. It's a small chain of amino acids. A chain between 2 and 40 to 50 could be what would be considered a peptide. Most peptides are on the shorter range that we're going to talk about. And then anything bigger than that is simply a protein. We all know what protein is, the building blocks of life, the macro of all macros.
Okay. So now we have peptides available mainly through prescription, but available. We're going to talk about how people get access to them. So there are these labs that have been able to break down these amino acid chains to create individual peptides that are made up of letters and numbers, which you're going to learn about. What are they derived from? So if you go into we were to go into the lab and tour it, where are they finding the components and these amino acids that they're mixing together to make the actual peptide itself?
All raw material is coming from overseas, no matter how you want to spin it. That's the truth. And then beyond that, when you're looking at buying peptides, I always recommend work with your doctor, make sure they know what you're doing. Like always, like that's in my disclaimer. It's a very common pattern where people will have amazing success for a couple months, and then have a check-in with their doctor, and like their blood pressure's gone down, or their cholesterol's dropped, or their mood is better, and they've lost weight, all of the above, and their doctor says like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh, well, I'm doing these peptides." Yeah, I've heard of them. This is a typical response. I've heard of peptides. I don't know much about them, but whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. That's a very common response.
Yep. Okay. So the people that are utilizing peptides right now, how are they getting them?
Okay. So yeah, it can be through pharmacies. The compounding pharmacies will compound a few, not very many. So they're going to be very expensive as well. And the other crazy thing is the compounding pharmacies, there's typically more fillers in them. So most people are getting them either direct from China, or they're getting them through buyers clubs, or they're getting through online sellers.
Okay. So we have a few things going on. One is people are getting access to peptides. Some are finding physicians that are comfortable with them, proficient, educated in prescribing, maybe through compounding pharmacy, but that has some loopholes. Then there are people working with quote unquote biohackers like you and accessing them overseas. And then we have Limitless Biotech, which we haven't brought up yet. Just give a rundown right now, who are the people that are actively utilizing peptides, and what are some of the reasons why they start incorporating peptides?
I will answer that, but I first want to touch back on and finalize that last question, because it's estimated by a lot of my peers and myself that about 97 and 98%, give or take, of peptides being sold are strictly import China peptides where they just put their label on it. I could do that. You could do that. You could start a new business tomorrow and do that and buy in by the bulk. We don't know what we're getting. They might come with a COA, certificate of analysis, but I call them B-grade Chinese peptides. Okay, there's only, that I know of, 5 or 6 labs in North America, US and Canada, that are actually made in the USA. So those ones, and there's only a few that are pharmaceutical grade. So it's a HPLC, I think it's but so they have a true certificate of analysis. They have endotoxin testing, sterility testing. They meet or exceed pharmaceutical standards. That doesn't mean they're pharmaceuticals, because it's not a pharmaceutical company. Now, what I'm only comfortable with for myself, and if I'm ever going to recommend something, I don't prescribe, I'm not a doctor, but if I'm ever going to tell somebody buy something from somewhere, it's going to be only a few sources that I'm going to suggest. And the number one source is Limitless, which we already kind of brought that name up. So
and I just want to say up front, for those of you listening, make sure you look at the links in the show notes. We're going to make sure that you have direct access. Jason has a couple different communities and also does concierge consulting. So if you listen to this episode, I'm just going to put it out there right now. If you listen to this episode and you're like, whoa, I'm leaning in, I'm curious, I would like to have a personalized protocol from all the research that I have done in the rooms that I'm in and the people that I'm talking to. If I'm going to choose someone at this point, I would choose Jason to give me the personal protocol, and I would go with Limitless Biotech. So you're in the right place, and just make sure you look at the links down below and we'll make sure that you have access. Okay, go ahead, Jason.
Okay, so the next thing you said is who. So a couple of years ago, I did a deep dive, and I found that they estimated about 1 million people in the US alone were utilizing therapeutic peptides from these other sources, right? And if that was a couple of years ago, if you've been on social media and if you search for the word peptide once or retatrutide or tirzepatide, then all of a sudden you start getting these in your feed, you're going to start seeing that chances are that number is probably 5x. I would guess there's 5 million plus people utilizing peptides. I can't go anywhere now where somebody doesn't know somebody who is utilizing peptides in one way or another.
What if the reason you wake up exhausted even after a full night's sleep has nothing to do with your age, your schedule, your willpower? I'm Maraya Brown, a certified nurse midwife and vitality strategist. And after 2 decades supporting high-achieving women around the world, I've discovered what's really draining your energy and why most doctors miss it entirely. If you've been battling brain fog, bloating, weight that won't budge, or that nagging sense that something just feels off, you need to watch this. I created a short, powerful video that walks you through the hidden hormone chaos behind burnout and exactly how my clients turn things around in just 90 days. So click the link in the show notes to watch. It's completely free, and it might be the most important 10 minutes you spend on yourself this year. Again, click the link in the show notes, and I'll see you there. Okay, so we're talking reduction in inflammation, increase in recovery time, anti-aging, brain clarity, weight loss, immunity. Okay.
Yeah. One to point out there with immunity is thymosin alpha 1 or TA1 for short.
Okay.
Is a peptide that a lot of these cutting edge physicians out there that utilize these agents and these peptides, they will use that for immunity. And we know that over 40 countries outside the USA actually utilize thymosin alpha 1 for viral infections, especially the C word. I don't know if we're allowed to say it here.
We all know what you're talking about.
So the third time I got that viral infection, the first 2, I was just on the couch, it was awful. Third time, I was like, hey, well, I know enough about this now. I know what the protocol is for it. It's 5 milligrams a day. That's 9 times the maintenance or regular dosage. I did it. So tested positive on Friday. I did it Friday, 5 milligrams, Saturday, 5 milligrams, Sunday, 5 milligrams. That's 1.5 vials in 3 days. Or Monday morning, I was like 80 to 90% better. And I tested negative. I went to work. I was good.
Fascinating. Right. I love the FLCCC guidelines on ivermectin, but that's a totally side note. So then everybody's hearing about Ozempic as a semaglutide. Is that a peptide?
Ozempic is semaglutide, which actually is a peptide. Yeah.
It is a peptide. So is that, when people are talking about Ozempic and they're going and getting the injections for weight loss, is that the same conversation when you're mentioning things like BPC 157 and TB 500?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So, to speak to Ozempic direct specifically, it's 1/2 to 1/4 as powerful or as good as tirzepatide with 2 to 4 times the side effects. And then retatrutide is the buzz right now. That's all the buzz. That's going to be the next $1 billion FDA big pharma one. But retatrutide, So semaglutide acts on 1, tirzepatide acts on 2, the GLP and GIP, and then the retatrutide acts on 3, those same 2 plus glucagon. Now, the thing about this one is the glucagon,
I feel
I'm
like we're
sorry,
speaking another language. Okay.
geeking out. It increases your metabolism. It
Yeah.
helps your body burn fat the way it did as a teenager.
Right. So then, okay, I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but my concern with things like Ozempic is, number one, we're seeing trends in muscle wasting, not just weight loss. And I have concern that people, once they start, are likely going to need to stay on them because it's really impacting their body's innate insulin production. And so I'm kind of a little bit concerned about how freely people are just going into these spas and getting injected. So if we stay focused on the peptide conversation in general, and I heard you say that there's pretty much no adverse events or side effects.
Except for a few.
Except for a few. Okay.
Ozempic is one of them.
Oh, okay. All right. So Ozempic is one of them, because would you agree that potentially once someone starts, they kind of need to keep going?
Yeah, no, yes and no. People get addicted to the number on the scale. It's not about weight loss. It's about body composition. It's about lean muscle. Like, that's what I try to teach people. It's not about weight loss. You lose weight and put muscle on at the same time, you're going to stay the same. Muscle weighs way more than fat.
Right. So using bioimpedance scales is rather than regular scales, but also, are we negatively impacting our innate body's memory of when to produce insulin? Or are we messing with it too much? So let's stay focused on the peptide conversation here, because I think we can go down a rabbit hole.
Western medicine is doing the GLPs all wrong. They're doing them wrong. They're doing high doses. And so you go up like this, you go down like this. And they cause gut paralysis. And they cause Ozempic butt, flat face, sunken face syndrome, all those kind of things when you do it like that. It's microdosing them and doing the gut support protocols and eating your target body weight in grams of protein every day. You have to do those things, 2 supplements and the protein. Otherwise, don't even think about it.
Okay. Fascinating. So for most of my audience, they tend to be women 35 and older. They're ambitious. They're in this perimenopause, menopause journey. Some of them are struggling with infertility, wanting to get pregnant. Some of them are struggling with weight changes, brain fog, sleep changes, libido changes. They're noticing really significant aging on their face or muscle wasting as hormones are changing. Maybe they're struggling with anxiety, irritability, depression, or itchy skin. They're feeling this angst, like, oh, life isn't exactly what I thought it would be, and kind of feeling like they're on the edge of burnout. So for that woman, if she is or if for the men that are listening and you have a woman in your life that you love and support, for that individual, if they were to be curious around incorporating peptides, my first thought is, I'm kind of nervous around doing an injection. I said to Jason, I just don't send anything that's going to be injected. I can get over it. I'm a daredevil. I'm a courageous woman. I built a dang business. But for that woman, what is a starting point? Where would she go? She'd come to you, and then what would you say? What kind of protocol would you put her on? And what might that look like?
So I have an intake form, and a waiver, because I'm not a doctor. I do have a doctor that I refer almost everybody to, because I need to know that their hormones are being looked at. Peptides always work best if you are hormonally optimized. And we're seeing more and more people, especially young men in their 20s with low testosterone. It's insane. All the doom scrolling and dopamine hits and EMF and, phones in our pockets, ruining our fertility. All this stuff is just processed foods. It's just killing us. It's killing us. And so I tell people, peptides are out there. They even the playing field. They give us a chance, but so do hormone therapies when under physician supervision, right? So we have some checklists. So what do we want to focus on? We want to focus on weight loss, lean muscle, anti-aging, longevity, immunity, mitochondria health. That touches everything. Libido, sun tanning, those are the fun ones, right? Heal your body faster, inflammation, like all these things. I have a box of like 7 or 8. So check out whatever you want to focus on. Now, out of those, what are the 2 that mean the most to you right now? Okay. And then there's some other questions. And then at the bottom, it's like, okay, on a scale 1 to 5, how far into this or how committed are you to do this from a, like I can handle complex things, because we build a whole schedule out. And the thing is like a peptide protocol could be 8 or 9 peptides and it could be 2 or 3. And so it could be very simple. It could be very complex. But it's so easy once you lay it out on the app, which we could talk about. And then the other question is on a scale of 1 to 5, like how committed are you like resource wise or financially? Because these can be expensive. And once I have all that, I can get a very clear picture. And the other thing is women, your target audience at perimenopause, because my wife is in that level position. And when we got her started on just a microdose of testosterone a week of injection, I feel like she's reversed age 10 years.
But that's not a peptide, right? When you're talking testosterone injection, because in my scenario, I'm fine sharing, I use a testosterone cream. And same thing, I tried a couple different ones in a couple different compounding pharmacies, and I finally nailed it down. I love so many of the byproducts of how I'm feeling. So, okay, so you're gonna get clarity on what are her priorities, how important is it? Also, I think for the women that I speak with, how much are you traveling? How much are you on the road? Because a lot of these need to be refrigerated. Many of them are injected. Some of them are nasal sprays. I'm seeing Quicksilver Scientific is coming out with liposomal oral. I've talked to a few people that are like, oh, so far it doesn't seem like oral or sublingual is going to have the same absorption. So get a little bit more granular for me specifically. What's the protocol that hasn't arrived yet, but is on its way? And I'm hoping it's going to arrive at the front door while we're doing this interview. What's in that?
Okay. So I built out your protocol yesterday. Let me look at it. Is it okay if I talk about a couple things specifically about what the peptides will do?
Yep. And also, you're also totally welcome to share anything personal that I've shared. I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to this podcast.
So I believe your goals were, around fitness, and we put some energy stuff in there too. Okay. So BPC 157, TB 500 fragment, that's going to be a nasal spray. You're going to get, I would expect you to get 40 to 60% the benefit out of that as you would an injection. Now that's going to be good for recovering from workouts. It's going to be good for inflammation. And because it's a nasal spray, it's actually going to have good brain health.
So for those of you, I don't have anything that's really glaring, and yet I would love more energy. I would love to maintain just really healthy libido. I do not work out as often as I would like. Our life is very full. We've got 3 young kids in multiple sports. My daughter broke her ankle. We got the x-ray yesterday. It's full. And so just to go, how can I optimize when I am dedicating time and energy? I don't want to take the Botox route. I want to keep healthy skin. I want mitochondrial function, brain clarity. All of that is really important to me. Okay, so BPC 157, and what I'm hearing is from the nasal, because I'm still a little bit cautious around injections. You're saying it's about a 40 to 60% absorption rate as compared to if I would be willing to inject, it would be much more beneficial.
And there's also the capsule form as well. They sell that on Amazon, because if it's not an injection, it's looked at as like a supplement. If you want me sharing back to like what is a peptide a little bit, I had an experience with one of my clients that's a doctor. He's an orthopedic, and he's really big into, he does exosomes, stem cells, PRP. And I teach him how to use peptides. He buys from Limitless. His physician partner was buying them somewhere else. And the first time he tried Limitless, he's like, oh my gosh, like I feel this. This is legit. I'm never trying that using another brand again, right? So there's testimonial right there. But I was at one point a few years ago, I was having like a little imposter syndrome, to be totally vulnerable and honest. Like, who am I? Why? How do I? Like, I'm not a doctor. Like, what gives me the right to be able to be knowledgeable in this and share with other people? And because that's how it all started. It all started with me finding a way to get the most out of me, right? And then I started just helping family and friends, and then that turned into a business. And then people saw like my fitness level, and they're like, "How do you do that? Like, how do you get 5% body fat? And peptides,
Yeah. I also
And
have a client that's now off of all of her psych meds. I have another one that's lost a bunch of weight. I have another one that's really fine-tuned her fitness, muscle tone. I mean, these seem legitimate. So what you're saying, I'm hearing, I know that you've worked with thousands of clients over the years, and I'm hearing it.
with this doctor, he said, "Jason, like, what are you worried about? Like, what are you even saying? Like, peptides are already in your body. They're bioidentical. They're natural. They're more natural to your body than a vitamin you buy at the vitamin shop or herbs. So I was like, and that's always stuck with me. Like, is it 100% true? Like, maybe, maybe not. But millions of people out there finding great success with them, and yeah, I'm just it changed my life, and my vision is to bring peptides to other people. It took me 2 years to figure this stuff out, and I can get somebody in 3 months what took me 2 years.
And so what are some of those outcomes? Just like rattle off a laundry list of some of the outcomes that you have supported your clients to experience on the other side.
Yeah, one comes to mind. His name is Mark. He's such a great guy. He's very quiet, and he should be just out like shouting from the rooftops about how amazing he is, because he did everything I told him to do. He did three 90-day programs with me. After 30 days, he went in for a checkup with his doctor. His blood pressure meds, antidepressants, weed, and cholesterol meds. Those were all the things he was taking. His doctor cut everything in half and said, again, this is a conversation like, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it. 90 days later after that, took him off of everything. 90 days after that, now we're working on mitochondria health. We're working on vitality, energy. So NAD plus, 5-amino-1-MQ. Everybody know NAD plus right now is all the rage. Like, you're hearing about it everywhere. But the first time I took NAD plus was 4 years ago. I had a terrible response to it. Brain fog. I'm like, this is garbage. It's like, did not work for me genetically. But now I know why. And I'm not going to explain why. It's way too geeky. But now I know how to take a large bolus dose of NAD plus. We're talking 100 milligrams intramuscular or subcutaneously, or even 200 milligram, and I feel great. Like, I feel amazing. That NAD is something that our body produces less and less and less and less of over time. So that's a great thing, similar to hormones, to replenish, from a longevity standpoint.
Well, and one of the things I'm hearing through this is to make sure it's a personalized protocol. This is not something that you just go willy-nilly trying out because you found it on Amazon or somewhere out of the China, or you've gone to a doctor who's just like, hey, I have this thing I'm trying out. It sounds like really working with someone that is proficient and can come up with a personalized plan dependent on the outcomes that you're personally looking for. And maybe that's injury recovery. Maybe that's more energy. I imagine better sleep, more muscle tone. You mentioned the one client who used to do Botox and is no longer, because instead it's skin vitality, it's anti-aging, it's longevity, it's all of the things that are part of the foundation. Like, the visual that I have is we can go try to build a house and have beautiful cabinets and amazing appliances and the best paint and the best room format. But without a well poured foundation, we've got nothing. It's all going to crumble. So it sounds like these peptides, which are normally occurring amino acid chains that are already in our body, but as we age, go down. Science and with your help are coming in and bringing those amino acid chains back in through raw materials that are resourced internationally. I still don't necessarily know what those raw materials are. Are they minerals? Are they animal byproducts? Like, what are the raw materials?
No, they come from a lab. Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar to bioidentical hormones in those cases.
But even
But
bioidentical hormones, like the bioidentical estrogen tends to come from soy for the most part. Is it still coming from originally some plant compound? Do we know?
no, it'd be made in a lab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, in case of like Limitless, the one that we are our number one partner, they are manufactured. However, they get the material them manufactured here at their lab in Nevada. Their headquarters is in Florida, but they need the dry heat, to manufacture them the right way. And then there's a process called lyophilization. And that's basically getting them ready to be utilized, and then they get tested from there. So trust your source. That's crucial. But back to for women, the women love this peptide right here. See how it's blue?
Yeah. What is it?
That's called GHK copper.
Oh, I've heard of copper peptides. I've used copper peptides in facial serums.
Yeah. GHKCU has a positive impact on about 30% of our genetics. And it helps with collagen formation. It's synergistic with BPC157 and that TB500 one. And together, the three make what's called the glow stack. All these weird names come out. But hey, like you guys would rather hear something called the glow stack than three weird names, right? So now a lot of places are selling three of these combined in one vial.
And that's what I'm seeing from you. So those of you that are leaning in, Jason's got a few different offerings. If you love learning and you want to geek out, he's got a community where you can be in there. You can be learning alongside him. He's answering your questions, right? For those of you that you're really choiceful with how you spend your time, and you don't necessarily want to understand the BPC 157 and TD 500 and glow stack. You don't necessarily need to understand the what and the why, but you want someone to give you a personalized protocol. Jason set up to do that for you too. So the point is, we all get to be met where we are along this learning process. And I kind of see it as being the front of the curve, but maybe if there's already millions using it, maybe I'm not so in front of the curve as I thought.
If there's 400 million people in the country, that's still just 1%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we want to live long, healthy lives.
Yeah.
And it sounds like happy lives too. It sounds like a lot of these are then impacting our genetic predisposition towards mood stabilization. I'm imagining autoimmune conditions, immunity, anti-aging, vitality. What about sleep?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of ones for sleep. There's Epitalon, which you're going to be getting that one actually. And there's that's a capsule. It can be an injection as well, but it's a capsule typically, at least from Limitless. There's Selink, which we've talked about right here. Like I took some of this right now, right before this. So I'm a little bit more wired, and and this will calm me down. This acts on your GABA, and this is a peptide that's already in your body. But this will help. It's kind of like Xanax, but not, right? It's a calming focus. If you want to get a lot of work done, but you're a little bit stressed, a couple sprays of that, like your money. It's great in the evening to wind down. There's also one called DSIP, Deep Sleep Inducing Peptide. It can be an injection or nasal. And that DSIP is actually a peptide in our body already. And the thing about that one, it really helps with you can take it at 2 p.m. It's not going to make you tired, but it will help you sleep that night. And the best thing that it does, though, is not something you're going to feel. It helps reduce neuroinflammation, so inflammation in the brain.
For those of you that are loving this, if you have questions, please reach out to me, comment down below, ask your questions, reach out to Jason, use the links. And if you have a bunch of questions, we can always do a second interview and answer what comes up. But really, truly, Jason is heart. He's generosity. He's passionate about this, and he's a great resource. So if you're curious about peptides, click on the link down below, find him, reach out to him. Jason, any last thoughts for those that are listening or watching? What's like the one thing that you really want people to hear?
Honestly, it's not even going to be about peptides or biohacking. It's going to be, get yourself in the best state possible outside of this first. Like trying to biohack yourself from out of emotional sadness and just a tough place of maybe wired and tired and stuff like that, where you're dealing with past traumas or you're dealing with relationships that aren't just working quite right. I would say work on that first, because no matter what, if your sympathetic state takes over, you're not ever going to get better sleep. You're not ever going to have the energy to go to the gym to let these peptides help you burn fat faster. There's little things you can do here and there, but honestly, it's inside out living. Like focus on inside out living, and then you'll really realize how these kind of tools can be an adjunct to that.
I second and third that. It's not just what we do, it's who we be as we do. And so I'm so appreciative that you are doing your own personal work. And I believe a rising tide lifts all boats. And so for those of you that are looking for the perfect protocol and the magic pill, it likely doesn't exist if you're not also looking in the mirror and doing the personal self-awareness work. So thank you. Thank you for who you are in the world. For those of you listening, I don't take it lightly. We have invested our time and energy together, and we've all just had an exchange, and that's potent and that's powerful with the foundation of love and support. And I know, speaking for myself, if you're in my container, please reach out. I always have a retreat coming up, program and offering free things, great resources. And same with Jason. All you have to do is be willing to ask for them and then be willing to be in receivership. So cheers to that. And thank you so much for all your time. And I can't wait to get my protocol. I'll definitely be sharing my journey along the way.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
I really am.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jason.
Maraya. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.